everyone. Come on in, and we are back with Put a Ring on It, season 4, y'all. Season 4, episode 1. I know I am late doing this video, but hopefully you all are still not talked out on the episode, and we can still talk about it. This weekend was pretty wild for me. My girlfriend's father passed, so I had to go to the service on Saturday. And then Sunday, me and my husband, girl, we had yard work to do. We got a lot of rain here in California, LA this year. They said that we supposed to be in a drought. What drought? No drought at all anymore. And the weeds, let me tell you, the weeds are on a level 100. So we actually got out there yesterday, Sunday, I should say, and did some weed pulling. But I'm here now. I am here now to talk about Put a Ring on It. And there is a lot to talk about because these couples, what's going on with these couples? But before we get to the couples, we got to talk about the fact that we got a new doctor in the house. We got Dr. Stacy Johnson in the house. What she tell us? She was from Spelman College, graduated from Spelman College. She's been a relationship coach for a long time. I guess she's pretty popular out here in the sort of relationship world. What happened to Dr. Nicole? What happened to Dr. Nicole? You know what I think happened to Dr. Nicole? I think Shorty and that Kenny situation happened to Dr. Nicole. I'm just speculating. But I think Dr. Nicole said, I'm not getting involved in this because that stuff that was going on last year with Shorty and Kenny, it would make most people who have a license say, you ain't gonna ruin my license. This is why a lot of doctors, have you guys heard that a lot of doctors, let's say you out in the street and you have a medical emergency, and let's say something starts happening to you, and they used to say, oh, are there any doctors on board the plane? Are there any doctors here who can come over and help? A lot of doctors will tell you that they don't tell people they're doctors because sometimes when you're trying to help people in sort of these, unplanned situations, and next thing you know, you turn around and getting sued. I wouldn't be surprised if some of those shenanigans went on with Shorty and Kenny last year because that's kind of who Shorty is a little bit. Shorty found herself in some situations, and I think oftentimes she never really took any responsibility for being there herself. She often looked for other people to blame. And who knows, she probably tried to get a case on owntv. Allegedly. It ain't even allegedly. It's just me thinking out loud, people. It ain't even allegedly. I ain't reporting no news because I don't want to be sued either. I ain't reporting no news. I'm just thinking out loud. So we got Dr. Stacy. Dr. Stacy and Dr. Nicole definitely seem like two different people. I think Dr. Stacy's going to be more down to earth than Dr. Nicole. Doesn't mean it's any better or any worse. I like Dr. Nicole. Some people didn't. I didn't have a problem with her. But I think Dr. Stacy's going to take a more, I think she's going to try to talk to them more real. And Dr. Nicole, she really was like a doctor. She would use like clinical stuff and everything. And everybody can't relate to that. So anyway, we're going to move on because you know what? They got one couple on here whereby he might need a clinical help. A Daddy Dunbar. We're going to call him a Daddy Dunbar. Daddy Dunbar and Chance. And then the other couples are, who are the other couples? Let's introduce them. Rick and Catherine. And then Joya and Joshua. Lordy, let's go on and talk about these couples. First of all, we got Daddy Dunbar. They say they only been married a year. Not married a year. They only been together for about a year. And he already talking about he want to get married at the end of the year. And he's pushing for it hard. And I guess he's an ex-football player. And they talk about their first date. How on the first date, she was having stomach problems. She carried him. He carried her to the hospital, found out she had an appendix bursting and had to have a surgery. So that is a bonding first date, huh? When you doing all that in the first date. Well, at least that shows you he'll be around. He'll take care of you. But I got one eye open on Daddy Dunbar. Something ain't right about Daddy Dunbar. Something is not right about him. I'm sensing some instability. And I'm thinking that maybe that's why he's trying to rush this marriage so much. You know me, I'm always the type of person where you don't really need to date 5-6 years to get married. That's really my thing. But and like you guys know, I got married early. I met my husband in August. He proposed to me in really like the beginning, end of December, beginning of January, and then we were married that following September. So I'm not a person who believes you got to date a long time, but I also, when I do see people rushing, I want to make sure that it's not for some other reason. Daddy Dunbar is giving me feelings that the reason why he's rushing the marriage so fast is because he doesn't want Chance to find out just how crazy he is. And he knows that the longer she's with him, the less she might want to marry him. I don't know. That's just what I'm getting from him. It's just some weirdness going on there. And Chance, she got this thing going on because she was she was raised by her father. And I'm telling you, it is so different. It reminds me of, like, I don't know if you guys remember, if you guys watched Ready to Love, when Joy was raised by her father. And I think women are different when they're raised by their fathers because they get different advice. They're told different things, especially if there was no female in the house. In fact, my friend whose funeral I went to this weekend, she has the same story. She was raised by her dad because her mom passed away at an early age, like when she was only like 8 years old. So I always talk to her about things of how she says she missed sort of that mother side that may bring in some of that softerness side. And then you kind of deal with men differently. You're not afraid of men. Because, I grew up with my mom and my dad for majority of my life. My parents ended up divorcing when I was around, sort of high schoolish, past high schoolish. But I was just a daddy's girl. So even after that, I pretty much spent majority of my free time with my father, more so sometimes even than my mother. And I can tell you that fathers do talk to their daughters differently about dating than mothers do. Because even in my adult years, when I would talk about dating or different things, I would talk to my dad and I wouldn't talk to my mother. So it was different for me. And I think that I can't say all dads. I can just talk about my father. Talking to my dad about dating didn't make me fearful of men. Because, sometimes when you talk to women, they're speaking sometimes from places of fear. So what they're doing when they're talking to their daughters, they're talking to their daughters about sometimes all their horror stories in dating. All their horror stories in dating. And so then they're kind of putting that in your head. And so then when you go out into the dating world, some women get a sense of fear of men. And I remember when I was young and I was getting a car, my parents were buying me a car when I turned 16. And I remember years later, my mother telling me that the reason why she bought me a car was because she didn't want me to be the girl who had to feel like I had to ask guys for rides home, because she felt like, when you start having to ask a guy for a ride home, there's too many opportunities for a guy to take advantage of you. So that was coming from like a fear place. You know what I mean? It was coming from fear. But when my dad talked to me about guys, when we would sit and I would tell him about a boyfriend or if we were breaking up or whatever the case may be, he never talked about it from a sense of being afraid of the man. He just talked to me from a sense of, maybe this is how you could work it out. It's really completely different. And so I can see that when I look at people like Chance, and I can look at people like Joy from Ready to Love, who's now on Love and Marriage DC, I can see why, you end up becoming a guy's girl, because you're not afraid of men, because you've had such a good relationship with your dad. And if your dad was a good guy, that's the difference. If your dad was Papa was a Rolling Stone, or he took advantage of women or did different things, then I do think that can make you afraid of men, because you saw it in your dad. But if you had a dad, such as I feel I had a dad, it didn't really make me be fearful of men. It made me feel really comfortable around them, so that I could open up and talk. And I don't know, I just didn't have some of the fears I see a lot of women have who didn't have a father around. They give you sort of this confidence. Fathers give you confidence around men so that you can really get to know them, and you don't necessarily always prejudge them from a place of fear. But I am rambling, y'all. That's maybe more information that you really wanted to know. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about Dunbar and Chance. and him going around talking about she needs to be more domesticated. She needs to be more rub my feet, cook his dinner, wash his clothes. I don't know. Is Dunbar paying all the bills in the house? He must be paying all the bills. She must not be working or doing anything, because the way he's talking, he's not talking as if she got anything else to do. Because then he started talking about she may do it. Because she's like, don't I have candles burning when you come home? And he talks about she does it when she wants to do it on her own time. And maybe what he's worried about is, what is she doing when I'm at work making all this money and she's at home not doing anything? I think Chance might be a stay-at-home, not a mother, a stay-at-home, a girlfriend, fiance. Because the way he's talking, she ain't got nothing else to do. She ain't got no kids to take care of. She don't have no job to go to. And he's wondering, why, when I get home, the king of the castle, don't I have some food, some hot water waiting on me, get my feet rubbed, a belly rub, and all this other kind of stuff. He said he's a lion. He said females do all the hunting. He's a king. So I don't know if he meant females do the hunting, because that is how it happens out in the real world, or not the real world, the real safari. The females do a lot of the hunting because they're faster than the men. So they do a lot of the hunting, and they work together as a pack, as opposed to most of the time there's only one male in the pack. So it's hard to take down animals with one male. They hunt too, but the females know how to work together collectively and take down the prey, which is kind of typical in the real world too, ladies. Can I get an amen, ladies? Don't we know how to work together really, really well? I'm not saying men don't, but women do. We typically learn how to work together, collaboration, community. Women foster that community, and that's what the lions do in the pride as well. But you know, this date came and he acted like he was sending Chance on a prom date. I was like, is this a prom date? He started sunning that man as soon as he walked in the door, which I was surprised by this man. What was his name? Philip, 32. Because Philip said he was from New York. And most men from New York, I'm telling you, they would not be putting up with this. Most men from New York have a different sense to them. And I was just surprised that this man was bowing down to and taking this bull crap from this Dunbar, Daddy Dunbar. Maybe because he felt he was a daddy. Because this was like going out on the prom. What time are you going to have her home? Let me set some boundaries. Let me do this. If he wanted to set some boundaries, he should have had that conversation with Chance before she left. But he was like, let me set some boundaries, a young man. Take your shoes off. Don't be coming up here with no dirty feet. See, this is what I'm saying. This is why I'm going to say be careful of Daddy Dunbar. Because one thing I always talk about is don't look at how a man treats you. Look how he treats other people. Because although he may be treating you nice now, look at how he treats other people. And to be honest with you, I thought Daddy Dunbar was more than protective over Chance. He was actually very rude. He was very, very rude. So that tells me that he has no problem being rude. And eventually, if you do something he doesn't like, it's easy for that rudeness to turn back on you. A lot of men, they want to treat you nice in the beginning, but they're real rude to everybody else. They don't have no friends. Their family can't stand them. But then you're just believing him because he's treating you nice. Well, what he's treating you is probably the act. Because he's just met you. Look at who he's known for 10, 15, 20 years. Get the story behind how he treats all those people, because eventually when you get 5 years or 10 years with them, that's more than likely it was going to be with you. Daddy Dunbar is giving me the situation where he's nice to Chance, supposedly putting on her shoes. You my queen, because it's all over the top. But I bet he's got some strained relationships outside of Chance. I would be looking at that. I would be looking at what are his relationships outside of me, because he was rude to this man. And it was go get me some food, bring me home some food. I'm gonna be hungry. Bring me back a doggy bag. And you know what? This man did it. And I was like, what? Why would you bring him a doggy bag? It reminds me of what he's doing to Chance. Do this. Do you have my dinner ready before you go to? Do you have my dinner ready before you go out? He's trouble, people. I'm going to say it now. He's trouble. I might change my mind because on all these shows, I start off with one decision and who knows, I change my mind along the way. I can do that. So anybody watching this video, and if you watch episode 4, I might be completely different. But right now, I do not like Daddy Dunbar. He's giving me a toxic, controlling, problem vibes. And the fact that he wants to marry this woman so soon is giving me vibes that he's trying to close the deal real fast before you find out he's a lemon. You know, when you get that used car and you're like, dang, and the used car salesman is trying to tell you to drive it off the lot real fast because if you don't take it now, this deal not going to be available in tomorrow. You better buy it today. You better walk off that lot. That's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm thinking. Daddy Dunbar, he's a lemon. I'm thinking that he's a lemon. And then, they had the date with Philip. They were on the date. This guy, Philip, he was immature. Chance read it right. He was immature. He even came on the date talking about, I'm still trying to find myself. He's probably an actor. I think last year, put a ring on it. I think last year they hired some actors to go out on these days. I don't know. I think he's an actor. He probably just needed a paycheck. How much you gonna pay me for the day to go out on this date? Okay, I'll go. He was on here talking about I'm still trying to find myself. Chance was like, Chance was like, who's interviewing who on this date? First of all, Chance, it shouldn't be an interview. It's supposed to be a date. Dates aren't interviews. But that tells you a little bit about how she rolls and operates out here. Because like I said, she's probably real comfortable with men. She's probably real comfortable with men because she's been raised by her daddy. She doesn't have any problem talking to men in casual ways. And she probably was a friend to a lot of men. A lot of men find women like Chance, Joy, attractive because it's an ease of conversation. When I was dating, that's how it happened to me too. A lot of men found it easy. It was easy to talk to me, even though I didn't have any romantic interest in them. They thought I did because I was comfortable talking to them, because a lot of women are sometimes maybe more nervous around men, but I was never nervous around men. And so they thought that my ease of conversation meant that I was interested in them romantically, but it wasn't. It was just like, I had a good conversation with you. It was great, but I don't have romantic interest in you. I will remember talking to men sometimes and they'd be like, can I have your number? And I'd be like, no, but we were talking, but I'm not interested in going any further. Like, well, what do you mean? You were laughing with me? And I was like, yeah, I was laughing because I enjoyed the conversation, but I don't have a romantic interest in you. And they found that awfully confusing. I never understood that, but I later found out, because when women are at ease and they're relaxing, oftentimes men take that as a cue that you do like them romantically, because I guess a lot of women, they're nervous around men, and then so they don't come off the same way. But anyway, when she did come home from this date, he's all at the door hugging on her, darn near taking her clothes off. It was just too much. All that was just too much with Daddy Dunbar. I got red flags running all over the place with me with Daddy Dunbar. He's trying to close this deal on Chance. He's trying to close it fast, because I think he is a big hot mess, y'all. A big hot mess. We're going to move on to the next couple, which is Rick and Catherine. And they were dating for 2 years. And I guess he got trauma behind his last marriage, because I guess he got cheated on. They had financial troubles. They had a whole lot of problems going on. And now he's scared to get remarried. He's like, who would want to get remarried after going through all this? And let me tell you, their story kind of gives me red flags too, y'all. It gives me friend vibes. I am getting friend vibes from Rick and Catherine. And I'm getting the vibes that Rick is using Catherine just to get over the trauma of his last relationship, that she's safe. You know what I mean? It's like, when you had that rebound girlfriend or boyfriend, but you only supposed to keep the rebound girlfriend or boyfriend for maybe 3 months or 4 months, just enough to get you going again, get you back in the saddle so you can get back out there. That was what the rebound was for. It was like a soft landing place for you. I feel like Rick has turned his rebound into a 2-year relationship. Because I'm telling you, she even said that they're suffering in the romance department. I don't think there's a romantic connection with Rick and Catherine. I think she may think it with him, but I don't see it with him and her. He came to the door for that date, like they were roommates, and his roommate was going out on a date. He came to the door like he had a female roommate, and his female roommate said, "Can you get the door for me?" And he went and got the door with his cup of soup or coffee or whatever. Like, come on, man, she be ready in a minute. Woo! Friend vibes. He got trauma behind his last relationship. He ain't trying to go into that again. Even their story is friend vibes. The fact that when they first met, she told the story that they first met like 10 years ago, and he didn't want a long distance relationship because she had come back for some funeral or something. I don't know, whatever the story. And so they didn't really get together because I guess they didn't live in the same place because at that time. So he didn't want a long distance relationship. So 10 years go by. She comes back, I guess, because there's some kind of funeral or something or another. They hook up again. He says, "You should move in with me." So she probably was still living somewhere else. But this time, instead of doing a long distance relationship, he said, "Come in, move in with me." So I guess between those 10 years when she was gone, that's probably when he had the marriage. So when she comes back for the funeral, he's like, "I ain't ready to be alone. I can't be with this wife because I was married. I got trauma, but now I don't want to live alone. I don't want to be alone. So let me just move in this woman right now and start this new relationship." I want to know, what was the time period between the divorce and when they got together? That's what I want to know. I want to know, is this a rebound relationship for Rick that has turned into a 2-year relationship? Because he's like, "Oh, we need to work out some things in marriage." She's like, "No, we don't. We got everything worked out." He's like, "No, we need to work out some things." He ain't motivated. He is not motivated to marry her. He really isn't. I haven't heard nothing about kids. I haven't heard him say anything about, "I really want kids." I don't know if he already has children. If he got children already from that first marriage, girl, Catherine, you're going to really be in trouble, because he may not have no desire to have no more kids. That may not be prompting him to want to get married. Plus, he's already been married. Girl, you taking away 2 of the biggest incentives for men to get married. 1, they never been married. They may want to get married. 2, they want to have kids. When you find a man out here who already has kids and has been married, woo! Unless he's been single for a long time, it takes those men sometimes a little longer to get back on the saddle sometimes, especially if they had a really bad relationship, because it takes men a lot longer to get over a cheating woman than it takes a woman to get over a cheating man. I don't know why that is, but men who deal with cheating women, it's hard for them to get over it. And women, we be having to bounce back real fast. Because there's just so much of it going on, the women have to bounce back real fast. Sometimes women aren't ready. They think they are, and really they aren't over it. But it definitely is kind of like a 2 different worlds out there when it comes to a cheating spouse. It's still a double standard when it comes to that area. But I like Catherine's date. He was funny. I think he's just on here for some screen time, some acting. He was telling some jokes and everything. And Catherine, no wonder she's in the friend zone, because she came dressed on this date like she was going to the gym. Yoga pants and a whole yoga gym outfit on, sneakers and everything. She didn't even dress up. I didn't get that at all. She probably is. She probably is in the friend zone if that's how she be walking around all the time. Because I don't know. That's not no date outfit. I don't care where you're going, a restaurant. That was not a date outfit. And she should have really dressed up a little bit more. But I guess she don't care. Like she said, the only reason she's coming on here is to maybe make Rick jealous so that he will propose to her. Well, then she should have put on a better outfit. If she's trying to make him jealous so that he proposes, she should have put on a better outfit and some yoga pants. She better get a better plan than that. She better get a better plan than that. But Mark was who was Mark? I got my notes saying Mark was the date. That was his name. He said he's been through therapy. He was smiling. He was fun. He seemed like he was a good time. I don't know if he's ready for anything serious, but he can keep you laughing. He was fun, lighthearted, bought us some flowers. And even Rick said, "Yeah, I ain't brought her no flowers in a while. I haven't taken her out in a while." Catherine is a roommate with benefits. Catherine is a roommate with benefits. I'm sorry to say, y'all. I am sorry to say. Like I said, I could change my mind. I might change my mind later on. But right now, I'm going to put her in the category as a roommate with some benefits. But now we're going to move on to Joya and Joshua. Same thing, y'all. I am not getting good vibes. But I guess that's why everybody's here. I guess I couldn't keep saying I'm not getting good vibes, because that's why they're here. Because something is going on. Something is going on. And they need to come here to get that spark to move them on to the next level. But once we get Joya and Joshua of 2 years, at first I was thinking he don't even like her. At first I was like, dang, he don't even really like her one bit. Another person that could care less that she was going out, because she was like, do we need to establish some boundaries? And he was like, we don't need no boundaries. He don't need no boundaries because he don't want to know when he goes out. Let me tell you, Joshua, which one is Joshua is his name? He is going to play this game to the hilt. He's like, I don't have no boundaries for you, Joya, because you know what? I don't want none on me. He's like, I don't want to give you no rules, no regulations, and nothing, because when I get ready to go out on my date, I'm going to really go out on this date. I'm going to really go out on this date. Who was doing that before? Oh, that remember Darian? He was really dating, really dating. That's going to be Joshua. He's going to be really dating. I wouldn't say that he doesn't like her or he doesn't love her. But I don't think he wants children right now. That's what I think. I don't know how old he is, but I don't think he wants children. And I think that's why he's not ready to push the marriage. If she were ready to say, let's be married and let's not have kids for 4 or 5 years, he might get married to her. But I don't think he wants children. There's a lot of men like this out here now. There's a lot of men who are doing the math on children, and they don't want children, or they don't want a lot of them. Because children are expensive. And if men are out here trying to get money, a lot of them don't want kids. Like I said, does he already have kids? We found out that Joya already has a child. She has an 11-year-old. So there could be something going on with that, with Joshua. There could be something going on with this whole thing with him, with surrounding kids and children. I'm telling you, we need to find out more around it, because I don't think it's not that he doesn't love her or doesn't want to be with her. It's something surrounding the children aspect that's making him uncomfortable. Remember the season with Shay and the man, I forget, they ended up getting married. But the reason why he was delaying marriage with her is because she couldn't accept his son. And he said, I will not marry you until you accept my son. And it wasn't until she started doing more in that area that he felt comfortable marrying her. And then they end up getting married. It looks like it looked like they eventually had a nice, happy marriage. I don't really follow them, but, and I think that might be what's going on with Josh and Joya. We're going to need to find out more behind, does he have children? What's going on with Josh's 11-year-old son's baby daddy? Because I think Josh's hesitancy is not because he doesn't care for her. It's something around the kids area, because he said to her, would you be willing to wait 2.5, 3 years for children? And she said, no, that's pushing me into 40. And he was like, well, if it doesn't happen in that time, would you be okay? Because he wasn't saying he didn't want to do it. It was the timeline. And there's something going on about that. It's either money or it's the whole baby, combined families, things going on. But let me tell you, he's ready to figure out maybe he don't need to be with her too. That's another thing. He may like her and love her, but he's here to figure out maybe she's not a good fit for me too. And when she went out on this date, she doing the opposite of Catherine. Catherine went out in a jogging suit. Joya said, I'm going to make him jealous. I'm going to wear this little cut off midriff, show all my abs, show my whole body to this man coming to make him jealous. And he wasn't jealous one bit. That old man came up there. The old man, what was he, Kyle, 48? He was like, dang, I ain't got nothing to worry about. 48, come on, put a ring on it. You had a darn near grandpa come over here and take out Joya. Woo, he's 48 years old. Joshua was like, I ain't got nothing to worry about. Come home when you people want to come home. He wasn't like Daddy Dunbar over there waiting at the door, looking at his watch, talking about it's curfew time. It's curfew time. He was like, come home when you want to come home. We ain't got no boundaries or nothing. She over here on this date, wiping crumbs off his face and all this other kind of stuff. And then she comes home trying to tell the story to try to make Joshua jealous. And he was like, I ain't jealous. He was not jealous. He was like, what you trying to do? Have some vulnerability or whatever. What's it called? Not vulnerability. What was the word? He said being attentive to him. I forget what the word was. She was so busy trying to make him jealous with these stories about this man. Girl, ain't nobody jealous of this 48-year-old man with a head shaped kind of funny. Please, Joshua probably left the house and went out and had a drink with some friends. He went at home pacing on the floor waiting for you to come home. He was not bothered. He was not concerned. He was not worried. You could have stayed out a whole lot longer. You could have walked in at 2 o'clock in the morning and Joshua would have been in the bed asleep soundly. He was not worried. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see how this plays out. We'll have to see how this plays out this season. But I'm looking forward to doing the recap reviews. Be sure to tune in. I'm going to try to get these reviews up, on Saturday along with the Radio Love. Sometimes that's kind of hard for me on a Saturday because that's normally the day I got to do a lot of family stuff. But I'm going to try to get this one up along with the Radio Love. But if I don't, y'all, don't be mad at me. Don't be mad at me. I appreciate you guys watching my videos. I really, really do. I appreciate your love, your support, your encouragement, everything. Because when I first started doing YouTube videos, I really didn't know how long I would do it for. But now we've been doing this thing now for over a year and I really, really enjoy it. But to be honest with you, what makes me enjoy it is all of you reading your comments, talking to you. Some of y'all feel like family now and I talk to you every single week. So, but work with me as I go through this and add a few more shows to reviewing. And that's it, y'all. Talk to you later. Bye.